If you are a real estate wholesaler and flipper and you want to be around other people that are looking to grow and expand your businesses in this ever-changing economy, then you need to check out our Scale community. Go to collectingkeys.com/scale and you can get all the details there. But long story short, we are a small, tight-knit little group of serious real estate entrepreneurs that are looking to really make massive income and not just passive income through this ever-changing economy. So if real estate wholesaling and flipping is kind of your thing, go to collectingkeys.com/scale. Book a call with me in there if you want, and I'd love to see if you'd be a good fit.
Let's help people build companies that can sustain any market cycle.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to today's episode of the Collecting Keys Real Estate Investing Podcast. Today, we have a friend of the show, Ruud-Johnson here. And dude, super excited to have you on the show today. If you don't know who me and Dan are, I don't know, go listen to the other 460 episodes we've done at this point. There's plenty of it. You're probably sick of hearing from us. But Cole, for people who don't know who you are, give us the quick, too long didn't read about all of the great stuff that you are doing in the real estate space.
You know, it's funny. The too long didn't read thing, I keep seeing people post that like TLDR, and I never knew what it meant until like 2 days ago. And I finally went and looked it up and I was like,
now you're in. Now you're cool.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's that simple. But
that's how I know that you're like busy actually working and not fucking around on the internet.
Doesn't even know what the internet is.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks guys for having me on. I know we go back and forth a lot and we have a lot of the same, I think, core values when it comes to business and real estate. So I'm excited to talk shop for a while. My background, I primarily wholesaler, have been involved in a few flips through partnerships, but primarily wholesale and real estate. Did a couple hundred deals through my company, Hello Pat, up in Washington, which is now more just brand-based, kind of just put deals together when they come to us. My full-time job now, I'm the CEO, president of Easy Button Real Estate, which we're a real estate services company, software, lead generation, and conversion support. That's one of the biggest things we've added recently, helping people actually close deals, not just give them leads. And I think I actually hate the word CEO, to be honest with you guys listening. To me, it's not reflective of the job that you do in that role of a startup. You're more like the chief garbage disposal, I think is a better way to put it. You deal with all the complaints to employee issues, financial cash flow hurdles, all that kind of stuff. So that's really what my job title is, and do that full time. We almost have 200 now team members around the world and growing really quickly. And I spend most of my time just in the trenches with our team and the couple hundred clients we have, learning about people's issues out there, how we can help solve them, and making fun of people online a lot like Mike and Dan do, which is, I think, my favorite part of my job.
Yeah, just
specialty.
Missing piece in the real estate space a lot of times. But yeah, man, I know that's cool. And I agree on the CEO piece, because I feel like CEO is either overused by people who aren't doing anything and want to appear important, or it's like reserved for people that are like in C-suite, like big companies.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you're doing, $5-10 million a year, you don't really have a CEO yet. Like you said, you have like the chief garbage disposal, however you put it.
Yeah, and it grossed me out because then I'll go see all these guys. I'll go to an event and I see these guys like are doing 3 deals a year. And everyone starts and has their own journey, but they'll shake their hand like, oh man, I'm the CEO, blah, 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 buys houses. And, we're doing 3 deals a year. And I'm like, that you don't have there's no employees, there's no infrastructure.
Dude, you can't afford that title.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's kind of like what the word coaching has become in our industry. I actually think coaching is an amazing thing. I have coaches, but it's a very frowned upon term in our industry because of the purple hair guys in our world that have taken it and turned it into something that isn't what it should be. So I think it's one of those terms that, if we were at $50 million a year, I'd proudly wear the title CEO. But until that point, even with my team, I don't want them to call me it. I'm just like, no, I'm the founder and the chief garbage disposal.
There you go.
It's beautiful.
But no, that's cool. And I like how you expanded on that too. So Easy Button, I guess we worked with you guys years and years ago. You've been doing this for a while. That's something I want to emphasize, because I feel like the lead generation space, like you talked about, there's so many people that kind of come in and out of that role. And we worked with you guys back when you were called Magic back in like 2020.
The OGs right there.
The OGs. And so you've been grinding at the same thing for a little bit, but now it sounds like you've expanded on to, you said like full like lead conversion and all those different things. And like, what does that mean? Because you invited me to come hang out with you down in Park City with a bunch of your clients, community members in February, which was a super fun time. And like, I was impressed with the caliber of guys that you had down there, man. Like, you had dudes that were getting stuff done. You know, they were all motivated. It was just a really good vibe. And so I think that whole inclusive business that you've built out is obviously working because those guys down there were crushing it.
Yeah, I'm really big on, and when we have our team meetings for the past, I've been running a variation of Easy Button Real Estate. It was Easy Button Leads before, it was Call Magic before that, since 2017. So the same business now going on 8-9 years, and just chipping away at it, iterating at it. And I think for me, my team comes to a meeting, they say, why aren't we scaling faster? My honest answer has been, for the past couple of years, we just don't have it right yet. Like, a lot of people are very successful with us. We just don't quite have it down yet in terms of our alignment with our client, our pricing, our operations, our gross margin, our net margin. We're just not quite there yet. And I've had the privilege of spending a lot of my time with guys who are in their 40s and 50s and been in business for 3 decades. And every single person that lives a life that I would want to live, they've been doing the same thing for 2-3 decades.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's my main messaging in my media as of late, because people just jump around so much. And I've been doing, again, I'm running Easy Button almost a decade, more variation of it. And I just now, over the last 6 months, feel like we have the right team, the right offer, the right pricing, the right alignment, the right margins to scale to the point we want to. And we're a pretty big company. I mean, we're a $4 or $5 million a year company consistently, but to now go to 10 and 20. And the thing we've changed, to your question, is we've gone from just a lead generation company, which attracts a very low intent person. Someone who just wants leads is someone that's very transactional. The moment that anything goes wrong in their business, they're going to cut you. It's a very hard business to be in. And they really, really grow to the level that I want to grow to. So we no longer let those people come on board as of the last couple months. I'd say it started in really March, so a couple months after we were in Utah, and I was playing around with this, and I was vocalizing there that I was playing around with this, is we only work with people who want to pay us for leads and conversion support. That's our flagship offer. It's called the Deal Engine. They have to pay us for both leads and one-on-one support for us to help them close those. And since we've done that, our churn's gone well below 5% per month.
Nice.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which 5% per month in an agency business is kind of the gold standard. So there's just a lot of iteration. And I think people that are in any business, it's just this. I have a good business partner we were talking about before the show, Tucker, who's been doing this for so long. In my early 20s, I just got pounded in my head by him. Like, you can only get rich so fast. Like, you cannot rush it to a certain point. You have to learn the different skill sets. You have to go through all the trials and tribulations and lawsuits and employee issues if you do try to jump it. But, it looks like you're selling an e-commerce store, or teaching Forex trading, all the other bullshit. It's just
making NFTs.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, exactly. So I think that's really where people have screwed themselves up. But yeah, that's the whole kind of rundown of how we've landed where we are, why we've iterated like we have, is just to create a good product. And there's not that many good products. And that's why we have a client, Brandon Evans, who hit me up this week. He's like, hey, I think I'm thinking about joining Mike and Dan's thing. I'm like, do it. They have a good product. And there's not that many of those out there, because people don't care enough. There's just so much front-end marketing. Hey, I'll yell at you on Instagram, I'm going to collect $5,000 from you. I don't really care what happens to you after. There's so much of that I've just tried to be very careful about how we craft our product and our messaging.
Man, that's actually really incredible, because I was thinking about as you're talking, like, because we've also watched you, at least Mike and I, from a distance, how you guys have iterated your business. And we've done that several times ourselves. Like, you almost like recreate yourself. You're like the phoenix from the ashes. It's the same company, but you're like, no, this is the new and improved. It's better. And it gets exhausting and it's tiring. But as you're saying that, it's like, yeah, what does that funnel, that marketing look like? Because there's so much bullshit out there for people that are listening, that are looking to buy a product. I mean, it's almost impossible to find something that's good without going through some shit. And every time Mike and I talk to a new lead for our coaching business, they're like, man, I'd love to go with you guys, but I paid so-and-so and I got shit out of it. Because there's like, to your point, is like, there's a lot of front end marketing. We're going to make you rich right now. Sign up. And then you're just thrown to the wolves, and you're just there that you just spent $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for some of these coaches.
I know. Some of the ones we see out there are crazy too. Like, there's certain names, there's the maybe mom and son couple in Ohio that are like the main wholesaling coast. I don't know what their dynamic is. They're really
the mom and son. What are you talking?
Dude, she's like 15 years older than he is. So fucking.
Oh, you're talking about the people they rhyme with Schmiffney High.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's like them. They're charging $20,000 for basically nothing for affiliate links, and then you obviously have the Paces and the Ryan Pinedas and everyone else. But the problem is like you're right, is it's generally a small pool of potential prospects that we have in this industry. It's a small population.
So I want to stop you there, Mike, because Pace did take a person from homeless to now a 5,000 air. First deal closed. Did you see that? I'm so curious.
This is the worst grift. I don't know what the angle is. It's so weird.
Now his whole challenge he's doing this week is he's going to start on a park bench and then go restart his business in 7 days. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I love that for him. That'll be great.
It's an undercover CEO.
They must have been down bad in a meeting for revenue for this year and be like, how outlandish do we need?
What can we do?
I know.
Now we're, our new program is we take homeless people, turn them into millionaires.
I bet he saw James Daynard's show and he's like, I want my own show. This is bullshit. Why doesn't Pace Morby have a show now? I need a show.
Yeah, right. Yeah, God. I mean, then they do like the little human tunnel where she's like walking out of a garage. It's such like a cheesy, weird thing, dude. I don't know.
I'm telling you, he's angling for Hollywood, dude.
Well, I will say, Cole, he's going to need lead support here because he's going to be starting on a park bench. So you should prospect. You should hit him up.
There's no check that some people could write to work with them.
Yeah, right.
But I think it kind of sounds bad that a lot of these guys that are social media influencers, and there's a boatload of them that care so much about being famous. And I want to grow my brand and I want to grow our business, and social media is an amazing leverage piece to do it. But like, I really don't care about being famous. Like when I go home after I leave the office, my wife doesn't like, or she does not on my social media. She doesn't care. My family doesn't care. I don't really care. But these guys care. I think it's like all the kids that were bullied in high school that get a little bit of real estate success. And they're like, whoa, people like me because I like do real estate. Let me only think about how many people I can tell that I do real estate. That's like the energy a lot of these people give me. And I just don't go to events anymore. I don't go to masterminds anymore. I hang out with like 3 or 4 guys that are in this business that actually run real businesses, because it's just it's that energy that you get of like, they hadn't talked to another human until they were 27 years old and they did their first real estate deal. And it's just a weird space. You guys listening, the people that you look up to are 100 times weirder in person than you can imagine. Totally. You actually like peel back the layers and look at how they live.
100%.
Yeah. That's so true. Anyways. So with your stuff, Cole, like what are you seeing right now since you're on like the lead support, helping people close deals? You've also been in the real estate piece for a long time. I don't want to discount that. Like, dude, I remember listening to you on Bigger Pockets way back before like we even started, and you were someone that was very inspirational to me starting out because you were a young guy that was obviously very sharp. I mean, you're even younger than you. How old are you now? 26?
Just turned 27, like
damn,
2.5, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, young buck, right? Mm-hmm. And you were doing a lot of stuff. And so you've seen like multiple markets come around, and like, what are you seeing big picture right now? Just like with the economy, there's all the doom and gloom with real estate in general. Your clients are obviously still performing. Otherwise you wouldn't be having clients anymore.
I think there's a couple main topics that are a recurring theme in our business. One is all the regulation and stuff people are always whining about, of licensing, disclosure requirements that are getting more and more frequent. And then you have the market cycle piece. And I think the second piece of the market cycle is like, I've always been, and I preach to our clients and I preach to my team, like, let's help people build companies that can sustain any market cycle. Because the reality is that like good buyers are buying right now. Mm-hmm. Sellers are selling right now. There is business happening and you might have to buy lower, underwrite different. That's just part of being a good operator. And I think out of the 2 million agents and the 800,000 active investors in our country, maybe 5% of them are actually good operators, decent operators, have a good team, understand financials. So I think it's just our messaging and the reason we're successful, because we're only working with clients that are good operators now. We're not taking the guy that's done 3 deals and wants to get rich in the next 2 years and wants to sign a deal every 7 leads we send them, or has 1 bad month of business and wants to jump off a bridge, right? Like, so I think if you're a good operator right now and you want to be in the way to depressurize it, if you're okay being in this business for the next 20 years, which you can really make as much money as you want to in real estate or any industry. But if you're planning on being in this for 2 decades, you're going to see so many different market cycles, interest rate hikes, interest rate come down. You're going to see 7 different presidents. You're going to, like, who cares about any of that? What matters is you become a good operator. And that's hard. And people don't like that answer, because then you have to learn how to hire, how to build a team, how to actually, well, you probably think you're good at sales. You're probably not. How to look at your financials and go, oh shit, I might be throwing on that I'm $1 million company on Instagram, but I made 120,000 last year. and worked 100 hours a week running this big machine for no reason. And I think those are the conversations that I try to have with our team to attract the right clients. And for you guys listening, if you become a good operator and you become good at business, market cycles will affect you, regulations will affect you, but they're not going to stop you from doing business.
Yeah. Are there things that you think you do differently in business in like this current market cycle versus like 2021?
Yeah. I mean, I think the one thing, marketing is always cyclical. So you're always going to get ups and downs with different marketing channels. I think that's always going to happen. I'm big on compliance. I think everyone should be doing compliant marketing. Like if you're going to cold call, do it the right way. Don't build a business that has more exposure than it needs to. If you're going to do text marketing, do it the right way, which is very hard to do that the right way.
Absolutely.
But they all come and go. I think it's just being consistent with marketing. I think the people that are winning right now, they're not concerned with AI and the magic, the next magic silver bullet. They're just doing the hard work every day. The best operators that we work with, the guys that have really big teams that have been around for a long time, they just are really, really, really good at sales, marketing, and operations. And they don't chase the shiny thing, the subject to, the novations, the seller finance, the Section 8, all that kind of stuff. They just ignore it. And they keep doing what they're good at. Like James Andrew, he's a good friend of mine, business partner. And he's just, you know what he's doing? He's doing the same thing he's done for the last 25 years. He's flipping houses. He's building houses. He's running his lending company. He's showing up to the office for 8 hours a day, working with his team and just doing the same thing.
It's a great point.
I know. I think actually the longer I'm in business, the more I realize that it's just doing the boring shit every single day for a really, really brain damaging amount of time.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's like how much, I mean, as a business owner, how much do the, world and macroeconomics really affect you at your level? Like obviously they affect things and you have to make adjustments. Like if you're in house flipping, you probably shouldn't over leverage yourself when the market's not necessarily going up. It might be going down in your local market. But I've always said this, like house flippers have to feed their families. So they're going to flip houses. And if you're a wholesaler, they need deals. And so to your point, if you're good at marketing and sales and operations in your wholesale business, you have people that are going to buy your deals. It's just, It is what it is. People don't just stop flipping houses. Houses don't just stop selling. People don't just stop moving because we're in maybe a down market cycle. You just have to be good at it.
100%.
I think a big part of that is just maturity of being a business owner as well, right? And I will also say that this is like a kind of an Alex Hermosi thing that talks about like just like don't be in a rush, right? And like, why are you always in a rush? But that's also such a classic thing to say for like a rich guy, right? Because of course they don't have to be in a rush. They're fucking paying their bills, right?
Yeah. I'm fucking rich, dude.
You got 40 million liquid. Yeah. He's like,
I fly private. I'm never in a rush.
Totally. But like even on our own levels, right? I know none of us are at his level, but we've all independently done well for ourselves. Like, Cole, I'm pretty sure, I haven't seen your finance. I'm pretty sure you're not struggling to, buy groceries or, be able to live your life or do whatever. And so I think almost like the balance is when you're starting out, honestly, sometimes it does make sense to be in like a little bit of a rush or to push the envelope or to work a lot harder or to take larger risks. It becomes easier when you kind of make that first batch of money, whether it's like your first $1 million or, you're able to vastly make an income that exceeds your expenses, then, you can kind of chill out a little bit and actually take your time. And where most people tend to get stuck is because they don't keep like the grit and like the gusto to keep grinding, after like that, and they want to like retire early or do whatever, when realistically they haven't earned the right to do that yet. Like, they're not that rich, especially these days.
Yeah. Well, I also think like the entrepreneur personality, like someone that's actually going to be successful in business long-term, like there's like retirement's not really a thing.
For sure.
And like anytime I meet someone it could be at an event and they're like, hey, Cole, like I want to go buy a portfolio. So I just go sit on the beach all day. In my head, I usually go, I could be wrong, but they're probably not going to make it just because of the fact that's not how an entrepreneur tends to think. At least the ones that I've met that have built the kind of career that I want to build. I think pressure is a good thing too. Like I tend to bite off more than I can chew a lot of times in business. And I like the pressure because I like showing up and having things to push and build on. And so, yeah, I think a lot of the advice you get on slow down is more around, at least the way I take it. And the part of it I think is valuable is the people that feel like they should change what they're doing because they're 2 years in and struggling. Like it's usually not a business model issue. It's usually a skill issue. And people really get themselves in trouble because they restart the clock every 6 months on what they're doing. And you can't get it good enough that way. I cold called for 8 months before I got a single deal.
That's pretty good.
And then I had an office with bullet holes in it that I went to at 19 for 3 years with someone got murdered in the parking lot one day, and while all my friends were partying in college. Like it's just, and that was for 4 years. Like there's just a certain price you have to pay to be able to build a business. If you want to be self-employed and actually build wealth at the same time and live on your own terms, there's just a price that you have to pay unless you inherit, unless you're the daughter of the In-N-Out people that inherited the company at 27 is worth $8 billion, right? Like there's that world too.
Cool.
And if that's you and you're listening, kudos to you. I hope we meet and become friends. But for most people, there's just a price you have to pay. And changing business models, changing business partners, those things probably aren't going to speed it up.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, like you said, there's definitely a natural personality type on entrepreneurship, to the point where it doesn't even really become like a question. Like you're not really that worried about being in a rush, because honestly, you're perfectly happy working a lot. Because I mean, I'm sure you're probably saying like, what else am I going to do? I don't know. I have like some recreational time when I know that I need it, but I don't like need it to be all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you talk about your father-in-law at 77. Like, what else are you going to do when you're 77 anyways?
Dude, seriously.
I mean, like you're physically breaking down. You might as well keep your mind sharp and do cool stuff like that too. Make deals happen.
And I feel like those things go hand in hand. Like he's still playing pickleball.
That's great.
Walking 10,000 steps a day. He's lifting. He lives the life of a 40-year-old.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think those two things go hand in hand.
They do.
Hey guys, quick little ask for you if you don't mind. We would love to continue growing this show, and being a small podcaster right now is honestly really hard. Pretty much everybody that I know that has a small show has been seeing a downward trend in listenership and downloads for like the last year and a half. So if you support what me, Dan, and Dylan do with this show, if you could please go and share it on your Instagram, tell your friends, share it on Facebook, wherever you hang out and you do your social media, just go and like spread the word about what we do and the value that we bring to you and your business. And that will continue to help us grow and expand our listenership within your circles. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, we'd really appreciate it. And thanks, guys. We'll get back to the show. My dad was an entrepreneur as well. He had a travel business, and like still whenever we talk business stuff, he's like sharp as a whip, like certain things. But then it's funny. So he turns 80 this year. And there's like other stuff where I'm like, okay, he doesn't quite understand this anymore, but it's stuff that doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Like technology's passed, but he could figure it out.
I get called over 3 times a day to fix a printer or to get a computer working again or get QuickBooks fixed. So that stuff leaves naturally just because technology advances. So even shit like the people are doing on TikTok and stuff now that we just hired someone to our media team that's like 23. And I'm like, what is this stuff you're doing? Like, I feel like I'm pretty savvy technologically, but like, and I kind of understand AI, but I have no idea what he's doing.
Yeah. Oh, it's all right. Get that 23-year-old to try and like do something in Excel.
Done. They don't know how to do shit.
Yeah. But get him to work longer than 3 hours a day. And someone that's 22 is like, what are you talking about?
No shit, bro. That's a trauma. You got to be careful.
It's a trauma.
They're going to have to go and tell someone about it. Which is funny that you're talking shit because you're kind of that same age.
You're close.
Oh, it's bad. No, I mean, the work ethic, I think every generation has differences. Mine was the first one to really grow up with we had Facebook come out in 6th grade, Instagram in like 8th. So like we were right there, and people just do not work.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, like my daughter's 7 and like kids now, like they say, I want to be an influencer or a YouTuber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
YouTuber. Like that's like a real thing. Like, even when you were a kid, Cole, like that wasn't a thing, It's just like, that's just the way things happen with these younger kids.
I mean, it makes sense. Gary Vee said this a long time ago. He's like, why would some young kid want to come work for your dry ass company for $50,000 a year when they can make the same amount of money dancing on TikTok?
And dancing feels good.
It's super valid, right?
Very valid.
And that's just the way that the economy has kind of changed.
It's how Ryan Pineda made his money, right?
Pretty much. Dude,
it's not us flipping couches.
Hey, it was what he wanted, okay? He decided that Ryan Pineda deserved that money. So that's just how it works. But he's the worst, dude. I'm so excited for that big lawsuit to come crashing down. Oh my God. What a crook. Yeah. How many of those guys do you think is there anyone out there that you was like a big influence that you think is actually legit?
There's only a handful of guys that I've met that I would want their life. And that list is that are like decent sized brands. Like James is a TV show now. He's one of them. We go and stay at his house once in a while in Arizona. He's as real as they come. Doesn't really care about that stuff. Just does it because it's a lever in his business.
Totally.
Tucker doesn't have the biggest brand anymore, but Tucker's one of those guys. Other than that, man, I can't say anyone that I've met, and I've met everyone pretty much. I would really sit down and say that I would want to trade lives with that person. Even a lot of the really good guys that I've met and had spent tons of hours with their families. There's just again, so many of them had this like wounded high schooler, couldn't get laid until they were 34 years old. This energy that's just a joke, but they have this energy of like
desperation.
I need to be I'm desperate to be famous. I will pimp myself out. I will sell whatever it takes. I will say whatever it takes to get some fame and attention. And I just don't.
I'll ask you about one guy because you're a Seattle guy. What about Thatch? I mean, he's got some nice cars. That guy.
Funny about Thatch. My mom is a broker, and her and Thatch started the same year in the same office, cold calling together. And so
really?
I've known Thatch for like my whole life, and I love Thatch. I think he's hilarious.
Yeah. He's freaking funny.
He does what he says he does, right? I think that he's a little more out there than I would be. Like, and I also think like, I think a 56-year-old dude flexing a Ferrari is not like as impressive to me because like, I don't know, like I can't see, if I had a brand new Ferrari now, I don't think right now I would flex it. But in 30 years from now, being like every morning, like opening my garage doors on my Instagram reel, like, and I'd laugh with him in his face, but I just don't think like, to me, that's weird a little bit.
You know how I know Thatch is legit though? Is because he's a 56-year-old dude that just lets himself be 56. He's not like a dude that's like roided to the gills.
No, yeah.
You know, and that's got like a new neck tattoo and has a 26-year-old girlfriend.
He's a real dude. He's legit. Like he made a lot of money before he even started putting social media content out.
Yeah, I've always liked him. He's always impressed me because he puts off the vibe of like, he does some cool stuff, like, I don't know, funny stuff too on Instagram. You're like, all right, cool, funny, whatever. Freaking older dude, but like you could tell he's done some shit and been through some stuff. So
yeah,
he's paid his money.
So with all that being said, for people that are trying to grow their businesses or, you know, learn about how to be better business owners or better real estate investors, like what are the good resources these days? I mean, obviously there's our show, which we kind of go all over the place. It becomes more like a bantery show. Your show's really great. But like, it's hard to find people, honestly. Like, how do you even learn how to do stuff anymore?
I don't know if there's a good answer to that. Like, I think unfortunately, for the way most people enter this business is they end up with a fortune builder, they end up with a Renatus, or they end up with a version of that, and they spend 20, 30, 40 grand and they get punched in the face, and then they do a few deals and kind of learn to sniff that stuff out. That's just a shitty part about the industry. And every industry is kind of like that, to be honest with you. Insurance industry is the same way. There's kind of grifters exist in every business. And I think what you can do above all is just avoid the keywords that signal a grifter when they're talking about passive income and they're talking about get rich quick, and they're talking about it's easy, it doesn't take time, energy, money. Those things that you just know when you're good do not exist unless you inherit it, right? Like, that's the major way to know. And then, yeah, if they're really in your face in the sense of they are tatted up, they're roided up, their way is the only way. But I just feel like so much of it just comes with experience, where it's hard to tell someone who's like I was I was 18 at a Renatus event, and I'm like, yeah, man, this is the answer. And I sign up for a program where it cost me $1,000 a month for 7 years to pay for the program, right? And I paid it off earlier, but that they just don't care, right? And it's those people that there's a new batch of people. Every one of the in this country is interested in real estate, right? Like I was telling someone earlier on my team is I'm going to a wedding this week with one of my wife's friends. Every wedding I go to, it's just like I play Q&A for a weekend because everyone wants to be in real estate, right? And they're going to go find someone to give their money to that's going to promise them the dream. And you guys don't promise the dream. I don't promise the dream. So they get to us later in their journey. But that's just I don't have a great answer to that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you're right though about everyone being interested in real estate, which does make it so much harder. So I was at acquisition.com a couple weeks ago for like our third session there with like their little deep dive coaching thing that they do, which I got a lot of value from. But the funny thing is like the other participants that were down there, constantly they were wanting to ask me stuff about real estate. And they're like they're in businesses that aren't close to it at all. But it was everything from like this one lady that was under contract buying a primary home that was asking me how she should respond to like a counter from the seller, right? To like people wanting to know about investing and everything else. And you're right, it's a completely broadly interesting topic, which almost makes it impossible to get good information as well, because the way you can interpret it is infinite. and there's people that want to be real estate entrepreneurs and there's people that want to be investors, right? But then what ends up happening is a lot of people that should just be investors, they end up pursuing like entrepreneurial stuff and vice versa, right? I can't tell you like how many people I've talked to that want to build a rental portfolio and they come to me and they're like, hey, I want to send direct mail so I can buy better rentals.
Why?
And I'm like, how many houses are you trying to buy this year? Like, oh, like 1 or 2. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Because the problem is you're going to be competing with us who, sends 20 to 30 plus $1,000 a month in mail and has an entire team. Like we will beat you every single time.
And the other challenge with that whole thing is it goes back to what we're talking about is like people that are in the real estate space and make money in real estate, that's the only thing they're pitching. And so they're like, you need to go build a rental portfolio. It's like, why? What are you trying to do with a rental portfolio? What are your goals? Well, there's tax depreciation. Do you need that? Like for like what? I don't, you know what I mean? Like why?
Yeah.
Like you just got to ask why like 100 times. And then you get down to it's like, no, you just want money. Okay, let me show you how to make money. That's a different story.
No, it's
for a long time, our tagline of the show was focused on making massive income, not just passive income. And it got a very niche group of people to come and be into it. But tell you what, that is not the popular message in real estate at all.
Everybody wants passive income and like they need 20 grand a month passive.
Yeah, right. That's like their arbitrary number.
So so fucking hard. But you know what? You can make 50 grand not passive a lot easier. Like
totally.
1,000 times easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think most people, like I've been talking about this more, I like firm beliefs held loosely where like I'm always open to changing my mind. One of the things I currently firmly believe is that most people just should not run their own business. And that's everything from owning rentals to doing wholesale deal. Like, does that mean they couldn't do it? No, but you're not going to enjoy your life because it's 98% of the time just brain damage. And I feel like podcast hosts, a lot of the times I feel like what all of us do is the reason we run podcasts and talk to other people is because we like hearing other people say it too that are successful, right? And it's just, and that's the reality of it is like there's no that's why I think Alex Hormozi's blown up the way he has, because a lot of like his Twitter today, a lot of what he put out is just like, I'm going through a hard period right now. It sucks. I don't know how I'm going to survive it or get out of it. It's brutal.
Cool. Me too.
That's the message. And I think most entrepreneurs feel like that.
Oh yeah.
At least part of every day. Maybe not the whole entire day, but there's at least a point of every day where you kind of just go, okay, here we go again. Unless you have a sick, twisted part of you that likes that, like the quote about chewing on glass, there's better ways to make money. Like W-2 is not a bad thing. Being an independent contractor is not a bad thing. Making 200 grand a year is not a bad thing. You don't have to go try to make $1 million a year. Like there's a lot more to life. And if you don't genuinely love just in a sick, twisted amount of pain, running a business probably is not the answer. And that is that's just my answer to people now. And until I'm persuaded differently, that's how I answer that question.
Yeah. One of the things that you said this in Utah, and I've seen you post this on Instagram a couple of times, which I really like. I have stolen this. You talk about like the perfect size of a real estate business, like a wholesale business for people. And I think I'll let you rehash the numbers on that. I don't want to steal your thunder, but it's one of like my favorite concepts. I think is so relevant to so many people trying to pursue this business.
Well, it came from everyone coming to us and be like, I want to run a $5 million a year company like you. And I'm like, no, you don't. Yeah. Like, no, you don't. Because most days I don't. And I spend most of my brain energy time for the past decade thinking and trying to get better at it. And so I've thought about like my best time in business was either now when we've gotten really pretty big, or is it like $1 million where your profit margin is 50%? You have a team of 3 to 5 people. Your overhead's not insane. You can sleep at night. You can have a bad month and survive it. And so I think for most people, what I tell them now is before you decide what you want to do in real estate, whatever you're currently doing to make money, take it to $1 million per year with a small team, 50, 60% margins, low overhead, lean, and then decide. Because one, most people won't ever even be able to get there because it's hard. And then once you do get there, most people don't need to go any further beyond that, because then you're bringing in a lot of overhead and office space. You're bringing a bunch of shit that most people just, I feel like, would not want to deal with. But a lifestyle business is what I call it, of $1 million a year, $1.5 million a year, 50% margins. That to me, that's when I was 21 making $400 or $500 a year. And that's a business that I think is less brain damage. And a lot of people just, they grow to grow. And agents, investors, they get to this point where they're just feeding a machine. And I think that's a terrible place to be, because you're not building a sellable business. If you're running a software company, feeding the machine is different because you have enterprise value if you're doing it right. But in a real estate business, there's been some people that have said they sold their real estate company. It's not really a saleable business unless you build something crazy internally.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think that that's such a hard concept for people to grasp because people always think like more money is more better, but people don't understand that revenue is so far removed from profit. So like last year when Dan and I were really pushing our backyard home buyer stuff, we did just over $4 million revenue with all that. But we took home like nothing, barely more than just like our standard W-2s versus back in 2021, we did like 1.3 million and we took home over $1 million in profit. It was great.
Way
it was
better.
awesome.
Yep.
You know, and we had 2 people on staff. When we had the one that did over 4 million, we had like 20 something people at max. We had VAs, like it was just HR constantly hiring. And it was like not fun at all. You know, and we did a lot of deals. We did over 150 transactions. Couldn't tell you anything about any of them, which was cool, I guess. But it also like loses the spirit, right?
You're just working in a different part of your business is all it is. Like, and I think the misguided notion is that like your expenses and revenue grow linearly together. They rarely grow together. You know, it's like one or the other. Like when you start out, like your revenue is growing rapidly and your expenses are staying low. But then if you want to grow your revenue a lot, then your expenses all of a sudden start growing lopsided and now your margins get smaller and smaller. Next thing you know, you're running a business for nothing.
Yeah. If you're at $1 million, $1.5 million a year, you really don't get profitable again in a real estate business. You try to scale until you're at like $5, $6 million. But for a lot of you guys that are just building real estate shops, you know, you really stuck for me. I flew to Naples. We do a leadership offsite every quarter in Naples. And that's where Tucker lives, my business partner. And I walk into his office and he's in flip-flops at 2 p.m. leaving the office. And he builds 6, 7 spec homes a year and makes $500,000 to $2 million per home and has 2 project managers. And like, that's his real estate business. And that's, eventually you kind of learn that in this business, especially, bigger is not better. And unless you're going to go to like a James Daner level where you're going to have 4 different vertically integrated companies that you spend 30 years on to get it all cranking together, you're going to make less by going bigger most of the time.
Yeah. I think you have to ask yourself, do you really, really want that? Do you want to go from 1 million to 5 million in 5 more years? If you don't want that, that's okay because you're going to not make a lot of money while you do it. And it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, I think that going about the way you said, Cole, is perfect, right? Where you spend a couple of years making the $300,000, $400,000, you keep living within your means, you bank a lot of that money, you put it in reserves, you invest it, you do different things. And then when you decide to go bigger, if you want to invest $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 into the new business venture to go faster, it's so much easier to do that.
So much easier.
Way better.
And a lot of people, like, they don't realize that like your quality of life peaks out, I would say, about $300,000 a year until you're making like $2 million a year. Like if you're paying yourself $300 for your business versus $500 doesn't change that much unless you're like, because at that point you can fly first class most of the time if you want to. You can save money. You can eat where you want. You don't have day-to-day living expense issues. So like for me, the richest I felt was when I was in my early 20s, late teens, and the first time I made $300,000. I'm like, oh shit, like okay. And then since then, your quality of life doesn't dramatically change above that. Otherwise, you just put more into savings. So if you're growing your business just to slightly grow your income from 300 to 500, it might not be worth the pain. Now, if you're trying to grow your income from $300,000 to $2 million in active income, you have to grow. But to your point, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people don't have that conversation enough either of how much money do they really need. And they've never really sat down and actually thought about that, of how much money do I really need to live the life that I want to live.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and they just think more is better, which, you know, isn't always the case. But I don't know, as people do. And people always fixate on the stuff that isn't even that expensive. I remember when I realized I kind of made it was I just hung out with Ryan Dossie down in Florida. He's a good buddy of ours.
Ryan.
And he let me drive his Ferrari, which I thought was super cool. And I learned I'm not a car guy. Like at all. I did not give a shit about cars at that moment. But then I looked up what it would take for me to buy a car like his. And I was like, oh, bro, easy.
I could do that.
Yeah, the monthly payment isn't even that bad. It's like $4,000.
Yeah.
Like that's not even impressive anymore at all. Like anyone can do that.
Yeah, no, it's I'm definitely not a car guy. I'm not an anything guy, to be honest. Like my wife, if she buys me clothes, I wear new clothes, but I spend my money on golf, travel, nice dinners, pretty much it.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I fly first class to Asia, and that's where I spend all my money.
Yeah, if I business class, other than that, I really don't. really don't care. Like I have a watch I bought when I was like 21 and a douchebag and single. But besides that, like that's really it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I'm not a guy about anything. I don't have any like vices either.
Yeah, you do.
Like what?
Podcasting.
White Claws.
White Claws. I don't drink White Claws anymore. Yeah, podcasting. I love podcasting, dude. Podcasting at White Claws. Haven't you seen me? Oh my God.
This guy podcasts all night.
Yeah.
His solo record shows.
Now your vice, Dan. Guns.
Oh, not even that, dude.
A lot of people that start podcasts, they just like listen to self-talk. Like a lot of people in our space, they just say shit for no reason online.
Yeah.
And they just love it.
Yeah, well, as they do. Anyways, Cole, let's get having you on, buddy. Give us a quick shout out to where people can find you, follow you, talk about your show, talk about your lead nurturing business. We need to find like a new category to describe that in like one sentence, because you said a lot of stuff at the beginning.
I just call real estate services, right? Like we really try to be a services company rather than a lead generation business. So you can find me on Instagram at Cole Ruud-Johnson. You can find me on every platform. I put out content across almost every platform at Cole Ruud-Johnson. And Easy Button Real Estate, if you guys want to check us out, we have a couple hundred agents and investors around the country. A few of them actually, at least one on top of my head has come from is in your guys' community.
As Alex, right?
Yeah, Alex, he's crushing it. So yeah, you can look up easybuttonrealestate.com, talk to our team. We try to be, we actually try to do what we say we do, which is, that's where the bar is in our industry. It's, can you do what you say you do? 99% can't meet that. So that's my quick rundown. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Cool, man. Awesome. Thanks for coming on the show. All right, guys, we'll go and hit up Cole. Check out his business and his socials. If you guys can't tell, he knows what he's doing. He's been in the space for a long time, and he is one of the very few people in this that I would vouch to in pretty much every single way, at least from what I can see, unless he's a really good liar, which is also possible.
Sure. Why not?
All-time level psychopath.
Yeah, all-time.
Total psychopath.
Yeah, narcissist for sure. But awesome. Well, Cole, thanks so much, man. And everybody, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys next week.
See ya.
Thanks for listening, everyone. If you want more from us, you can shoot us a follow on Instagram. I am at Mike_invest. Dan is at InvestorManDan. And Dylan is at Dylan_does_deals. Shoot us a follow and send us a DM to let us know what you think of the show.